Political liberalization, or I have to say, effective introduction of democracy on the African continent over the last 2 decades has seen the convening and conduct of a lot more elections and political activity in many countries on the continent. As a result of that, now countries have now geared towards the whole structure of making sure they strengthen their democratic tenet, their democratic structures, and make sure multi-party politicking or political party activity is a mainstay of their democratic dispensation. Well, this time around in West Africa, now we've seen a lot of elections, and the rest of the continent have also seen some level of elections or polls. Some of them have been in dispute. But one thing is for sure, the role and contribution of civil society in making sure the citizen is given access to participate in the democratic process is key. This morning we'll be talking about elections, the relevance of the elections, and those disputes that usually arise out of those elections, how we can resolve them, and make sure also we consolidate and strengthen political party activity in Africa. We have to help us do the discussion, Kwabena Domfe. He's a member of the CPP, and Mr. Domfe is currently the CPP spokesperson on youth and sports, but also the director of elections of the party. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
We'll also be joined by Sheikh Arim Yao Shoaib, and he's the advisory board member of CODEO. And CODEO, we know they're the biggest election observer group in Ghana. And you've been part of the observations of elections by CODEO before?
No.
Okay. Now, if you look at democracy in Ghana specifically over the last 2 decades, what will be your impressions? If succinctly you would want to make a description of it.
I think that as a people we are setting a pace for ourselves, and notwithstanding the challenges and all the associated, if you like, minors here and there, we have done well as a people. And we are committed to deepening the democratic culture. We have decided as a people that no more are we going to let the, a barrel or the gun decide for us who should be our leader, but the ballot of the thumb. And I think that even the very last election and the presidential petition, which was seminal, to the very constitutional framework that we are also operating, goes a long way to affirm our belief and our consistency to ensure that we let the ballot decide for us who should be our leaders. And I've always maintained those who felt that the Supreme Court petition was an exercise in futility and a drawback, they should revise their notes. But for it, Ghana could have turned into something else. And I believe that it is important that moving on, we ensure that we take lessons from there and avoid the things that can possibly draw us aback and plunge this nation into some chaos or anarchy.
I usually hear you a lot making commentary on subjects of politics and other social issues on radio and TV. Now, for many protectors of our democracy, or the current dispensation we're practicing or enjoying currently, the fulcrum of it, and for many of the arguments, is that, well, we have a lot more people now participating, contributing to national discourse, and thereby contributing the current dispensation. The way we're conducting it, is that the right way to go?
I think that, whatever system that you build, you can hardly have 100% participation by the citizenry. Not even the most advanced democracies of the world. UK, United States of America, they have never had 100% voter turnout, for example. So certainly you have some people not participate. There is, and there are, several reasons that lead to voter apathy. And the syndrome of withdrawal by some people. Part of it is disappointment, disaffection, and if you like, you know, the frustration that people get to a point when they give up and say, is it worth it? And the moment you get to that period or that peak where people seem to lose confidence in the system, you are heading for a doom. Because then people will begin to consider alternatives. And what are the possible alternatives beyond going by the ballot? So, I mean, it is important that handlers of power, and here I mean the government of the day, the president, his ministers, the members of parliament, the judiciary, and, if you like, the law enforcement agencies. They have a lot to do to ensure that people keep building confidence in the system. Because we can only lose confidence in the system by the deeds, the omissions